Ron Jess with Jessfor30. Today we have Jason Raithel, producer and co-host of JoAnne, Jason, and Ben show, WOMC 104.3.
That's right.
It's really good to have you here, Jason.
Ron, it's been a long time in the making, but I'm finally here. Thank you so much for having me, my friend.
Well, I see you live in Trenton.
Yeah, downriver boy. Grow up in Lincoln Park. I live in Trenton now, but yep, downriver. Kind of a hike.
Yeah. So you were born where were you raised?
I was raised in Lincoln Park.
Okay, you grew up there through.
I went to high school in Lincoln Park, graduated in '98, and then from there, I stayed downriver as I went to Spec Howard for radio school. And then I lived in Dearborn for like 10 years, and now I'm back in Trenton. So, yeah, I've been downriver my whole life.
Yeah, Dearborn's a good town, too.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it's a lot of changes over. Long way from Orville Hubbard.
Yes, it was.
Statue. Were you there then?
I was not.
Weren't you?
No, that was before my time.
Are you close to your mom and dad, your brothers, siblings?
Yeah, my brother still lives on Grosseal, so he's down here. My parents live up in Gaylord. They're retired, and they live up in Mishaway on the golf course, and they like to golf all the time. But, yeah, I'm close with the fam, for sure.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
So you go golf with them a little bit? Or
Yes, I golf with them as much as I can. I do golf a lot down here. It's one of my favorite hobbies to do is golf.
So you're... I got to mention this tooth. It's driving me crazy.
Let's get into it.
Let's just call it what it was.
Ron's partial was causing him to have discomfort.
It's like a log in my mouth, you know. And some people probably prefer that. Maybe my wife. So great. What? I don't care, you know.
Whatever makes you comfortable, Ron.
Yeah. We had Rick Gadwa on here about a month and a half ago, and he won 3 state championships with Heartland. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. He got the John Harrington Award for the best high school coach in the state.
Nice.
That's men, woman,
What sport did he coach?
Hockey.
Hockey, all right.
They beat Stevenson,
okay.
You know. That was always in
the big rivalry.
Big rivalry. And Ricky's just a great kid. He grew up in our neighborhood.
That's cool.
Well, he's missing a tooth. He's sitting where you are, so it'd be on your left side. And we mentioned it before the show, and he said, "Ron, I'm just going to leave it. I'm hockey, you know, nobody cares." So my first question was, "Hey, I got Rick Gadwa here, no tooth." You know what he said? We're going to get to it right from the hop, right, Ron? Hockey term.
That's right.
That was really funny, you know?
That's awesome.
So you're at Spec Howard. You're like the legend from Spec Howard. Are there many other guys that came out of there that have had your success, Jason?
Oh, many people that have had. Doug Podell went to Spec Howard back in the day. Man, there's so many. Holly Hutton, who's on YCD, she was on 89X for a long while. She was there. Alex Tier, who was the program director for 93.1 DRQ. When I worked there, he was my boss, and now he's the vice president of programming for Sirius XM. He was a Specs Howard grad. So there have been many Specs grads that have gone through that school and gone on to have great success, and many that haven't as well. So I'm very lucky. Because it's a rare thing, something that they taught us when we were in school, you know, like getting towards, you know, working towards your first job, right? You're there at the school. They're going to help you get into the business, help you get your internship. And the majority of you are not going to be in your hometown, like staying in the town that you grew up in and, you know, being there for an extended period of time. It's a very rare thing in the radio business. So for me, it's been 25 years, and I've been in Detroit my entire career, and I'm really blessed to, you know, be in my hometown and work in my hometown for such a long time. It's really cool.
Well, you guys are all cool. I've like mentioned earlier, we had the 2 WJR guys all you guys within the last.
I'm sorry. You mentioned WJR. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm just kidding.
The Golden Tower of the Fisher Building.
I worked in the Fisher Building with them. When I worked, my first radio gig ever was at 93.1 DRQ. Like when I remember. That was my first paid gig. And we were in the Fisher Building. It was 93.1, 96.3, and WJR. We were all the same company. At the time, it was ABC Disney that when I first started there. And working out of the Fisher Building was something so cool. Every single day, going into that building, walking through the lobby of the Fisher Building with everything gold and just all very ornate and very Art Deco from that time. It was so cool. It was really, really cool. What wasn't cool was the elevators didn't work half the time.
Really?
We were on the 7th floor, so hiking up 7 flights of stairs at 5 o'clock in the morning was not my idea, but it was a cool time working there at that building with those stations. Yeah.
Was JP McCarthy there?
JP had just retired. I think it was. I started there in 2000. I think he retired like the year or two before. No, he wasn't there. Because he had retired before I started, and then I remember working there. I worked there until 2005, and I remember being there when he passed. So, yeah, it was like right before I started is when he retired from there.
We had a group from Traris. Traris is one of the companies I represent. Great company, 100 years old.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, right next to WWJ on 8 Mile, Coolidge.
Oh, okay, yeah, the old building, yeah.
Yeah, the old building. So what's really neat was our group was down there, and I'm not sure. I think had to stay home to coach some baseball for my son out here in Brighton, and I was invited. But a lot of our guys went down to Inverness in Toledo to golf, and J.P. McCarthy was in New York. That's where he
Right.
I think he passed away out there. But his buddy Bo Schembecker was golfing with the Traris guys, the Alan Fays and Charlie Winters and all these crazy guys.
What a trip. God, I'd love to golf with Bo.
Oh, could you imagine?
I don't know what I would do with myself. I got to be honest. I'm a huge Michigan fan. I would lose myself.
Jason, they called me and said, Bo would like to sign a football for you or, because you couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So it says, I said to do it to my son.
Okay.
So it says, to Jeremy Joseph Jess from Bo Schembeckler,
Wow.
all my best.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's
I freak
really
out every
cool.
day because 97 won the ticket, their morning show, John Jansen. He was the captain of the 97 team that won the national championship. So, I see him every day and I get a chance to interact like that right there. I already get freaked out about. So, to get handed something from Bo Schembeckler.
Well,
awesome.
what's cool? Out here in Brighton, football's a big deal with the Finnertys and all those guys. Sitting right in that chair where you are right now, 1997 team, Clint Copenhaver.
That's awesome.
He grew up in Brighton, played Brighton High School, played U of M with Sword and Charles Woodson on the same defense with those guys.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and how
what
about
a team that was?
How about their three quarterbacks? Who were they?
Well, let's see. It was 97. Boy, you're calling me out right now. I'm literally having a brain fart.
I shouldn't have
Jim
done
McMahon? No.
It was the starter was Greasy.
Brian
Greasy.
Yeah.
The two backups, because one was here, Drew Henson and Tom Brady.
That's wild.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a quarterback loaded team there.
Yes,
let me
it
tell
is.
you. In practice, you'd have no problem finding somebody to jump in there, man. Tom Brady's like third string.
Third string,
Yeah, third, because I think Drew was in front of him.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was crazy. That was in 97.
I think that those are all the things that drove, other than being a 7th round pick. I think that was the motivation for Tom Brady.
He had to prove that. He had to prove to everybody that he was, he was worth it.
Yeah. When you're
And
third
boy, did he
string.
ever.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did all right.
I wasn't a fan of his roast, but maybe you were. I thought
there
it was
was some
so
fun.
weird.
I'm not gonna lie. There was some really funny moments from the roast. It was uncomfortable a little bit. I don't think he realized. Just watching it, I don't think he realized that he knew kind of what he was going to be getting into, but I don't think he really knew what he was in for. And going forward, I don't know if there's going to be another, athlete that's going to want to get roasted because they didn't hold back. Nikki Glaser was hilarious, but she laid into the divorce and everything like that. Oh my gosh. What a time.
He was sweating a little bit.
A little bit.
He was calmer in the Super Bowl, wasn't he?
Yeah, put him under pressure with 7 million people watching him at home, and he's like cool as a cucumber. Put him on stage with 15 comedians, and he's sweating bullets.
You can't hide up there or make a good play to get out.
I'll tell you, though, it is nerve-wracking when you got comedians going at you. I have a story about in 2001. I was in L.A. for the first season finale of American Idol. I was out there covering it for the radio station at DRQ at the time. And the hotel that we were staying in, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was attached to the Comedy Store, right? World famous Comedy Store where all the comics go, and they, you know, it's huge. Pauly Shore and his mom own that. So staying at the hotel, we got to go to there for free. So we're like, all right, it's kind of late night, nothing really going on. Had to kind of get up early. I'm like, well, let's go check out a comedian. Let's just see what's happening. Nobody I knew was there, but we went in, watched the first comedian. They go to intermission. They come back. They're like, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special surprise for you. We have a special guest coming in. Andrew Dice Clay is here and wants to do a set.
Whoa.
So I'm like, this is amazing. Let's go. Yeah. Right? It was started off great, and he was doing some jokes. He was talking about how he's working on a new special, and he wanted to try some stuff out. So he was working with some of his new stuff. When he was done with it, he still had some time. So he started looking around, and I was kind of sitting off to the side, but I was in the front row. I was with my buddy McConnell, who was with me at the time from the station, and I was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, and he pinpointed that Hawaiian shirt, and Andrew Dice Clay went for 15 minutes roasting me for wearing a Hawaiian shirt and being fat and all this other crazy stuff. And he just went in, and I was just sitting there laughing, and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing it. And at the end, I thought to myself, nobody else can say they got roasted by Andrew Dice Clay for 15 straight minutes. So I feel how Tom Brady felt a little bit, like once you don't know what the comedians are going to say. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Cool, but very unnerving at the same time.
Well, some of the comedians, some of the greatest of all times, I was kind of thinking last night was Robin Williams. And
Comic Relief, love those.
Yeah. I mean, Billy Crystal doing the Muhammad Ali. We had Ed Kelly in here doing every different one. He was doing, Tim Allen.
Oh, yeah,
he was
yeah.
on
Tim,
your show.
Tim Allen.
Yeah, when what's his name retired. JJ retired.
Yeah, we had Tim Allen call in, yeah.
Yeah. Tell him I called him what's his name.
That's right, I will.
The big Republican.
Yeah, I will tell him when I see him. But it was great. Yeah, we had Tim Allen call in on the second day of the week celebration we had for JJ, and it was great to have Tim on, and we got him to say to infinity and beyond. It was really cool. So.
That was. I listened to it last night.
Yeah, it was what a week of radio that was to celebrate JJ 52 years. I mean, wow, it's something I'll never forget. Especially we had oh my gosh. Ken Calvert. We had Ken Calvert on the show, and that was amazing. And 2 weeks after that, Ken Calvert passed away. So to get to have that moment with him for JJ, with JJ, and then something that I'll never forget because it was just like a radio icon, a radio hero of mine being there to celebrate another hero of mine, JJ. I grew up listening to the guy every single day on my way to school. If my dad was driving me, we were listening to JJ in the morning crew on the way into work and into school. So the fact that in 8th grade, listening to JJ on the radio, and then fast forward, 20 years later, I'm on the air with him. It was like a whole full circle moment, just something that I'll forever cherish. JJ is so cool.
Yeah, he is. And Tim Allen's cool too. And, Detroit gets a lot of, we get a lot of great entertainment. And Fox Theater downtown. We saw 3, my family or my sons-in-laws and my son at one, and the girls, and we've got a group of us, and we saw in a short period of time we saw Tim Allen, and we saw Joe Rogan.
Nice.
Yeah, and we saw my wife and I saw Smokey Robinson.
All at the Fox you saw through?
Yeah, at the Fox. Yeah.
What a great venue that is too,
isn't it?
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. You don't want to go down there hungry. We got late for one. There was a WWE something going on, and all these monkeys weren't running around with championship belts on there. Yeah.
Marks is what they are called in the wrestling business. Yeah.
I don't know what they're called, but we were late because there's 2 million people downtown. Yeah. So we get there, and we're 45 minutes late or 45 minutes early, but we didn't have time to stop to have dinner. Mm-hmm. So you go in there and you can order a candy bar or some chips. Or, they're not really set up for that, but it's so beautiful.
It's a great, especially, once Comerica Park opened up in 2000 down there, and it really started the revitalization of like that strip and to what it is now, where you have Comerica, but then you have like the brand new Little Caesars World headquarters is right there. All the other new buildings that are popping up down there. It's just so much fun to go down there. I would recommend, I mean, next time you go down there a little early, I mean, try going to Hockey Town right next door. I mean,
it was packed.
was it packed?
Oh, yeah.
All
It was
But at least now you got Mom's Spaghetti that's right outside the Fox Theater, so you can just grab a little meatball or something before
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
There you go.
Was that Kid Rock's old place that they took away from him? Or basically took away, right? At Little Caesars Arena. He was there.
He did have one. Yeah, Rock's Bar was there, but that was only like a couple of years, and then the naming thing, that's right before he opened up the Nashville bar that he has now.
Oh, okay.
The honky tonk down in Nashville that he has. So once like that one closed at the Joe, that was like a 2-year deal or something like that with his naming rights. Then he opened up the place in Nashville.
Oh, okay. Maybe that was more of that. It seemed to me he said something someone didn't like.
I mean, it could have been. I don't know the full story. We know how Kid Rock can be sometimes, so it may have been that. I don't know.
Yeah. He didn't like Budweiser much.
No, he did not.
We had the lovable Sean Belizean on here, and I absolutely loved having him. He made a comment. You were alluding to it a little last night when we were talking. We didn't talk long on the phone. But he said something to the effect that the last couple of years, he's been able to become a fan again. And he's not obligated, hey, I got to run up and do this. I've got to run to this obligation, that he can just do that.
A fan of what?
Sports.
Oh, yeah.
Sports.
That's never left me.
Oh, really?
Maybe for him because he covered a lot of sports, but like I don't. So I love talking sports. We talk about it a lot on our show. I mean, for me, the Lions are my favorite, and then it goes from there. Lions, Michigan, Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, speaking of being a fan, I was a huge fan of Ernie Harwell, which I'm sure Jason and the whole world was. But last Friday we had sitting here was Ed Kelly, and he did I think it's called something in flight.
Oh, I have slipped those early bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you had not dreamed of, wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting winds along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air, up, the long, delirious, burning blue. I've topped the wind-swept heights with easy grace where never lark or even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind I've trod the untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. And that ball was caught by a young man from Warren, Michigan. No.
So, Jason, we always focus on veterans, charities, and foundations for the show, and I think we had talked a little bit about that. Is there one in particular or a couple that you're involved and you'd really like to?
Yeah, some past veteran charities that I've worked with, like a Wounded Warrior Project, I've done a couple of things with them. My brother is a veteran. He served in the Marine Corps for 6 years and did a tour over in Iraq in 2003. A lot of my buddies did. So I did some stuff with Wounded Warriors and just local VFW. I've done that in the past. Mainly my focus is for charity work or like with children's cancer. I work with a lot with St. Jude, done a lot with them. I always feel amazing after helping out St. Jude. We do a lot with Corwell Health and the Beaumont Children's Hospital, a Miracle Radio Network. We do that every year with the WOMC. And my friend Roy Townsend, he has an organization called Forever 13 in honor of his son Justin, who died of a glioblastoma when he was 13. And that was about 10 years ago that he passed. And I've been working heavily with them doing different charity events. So I do like to, spread it out a little bit, mainly with the cancer charities for the children. Because I'm just a sucker for those. I mean, you see those kids and you can't help but want to do everything you can for them. So definitely love doing that. And I love working with the veterans as well. Somebody wanted me to do a Tough Mudder, for some.
My son's done them.
Right. And I don't even know if I hesitated for a half of a second when I was like, there's no way you're going to get me to do a Tough Mudder.
They look hard.
I honestly don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it. I would just be like, tap, I'm out.
It looks like torture, doesn't it?
It does. That's not. I torture myself playing golf. I'm not going to torture myself doing exercise.
I get it, man. That golf is brutal. I mean,
Yep.
I'm the 9-hole guy. Darren McCarty and I golfed at Lakeland out here where we belong in Brighton, and we got to spend cart time together, 9 holes a couple weeks ago.
D-Mac's awesome.
He's unbelievable.
He's such a cool cat. The fact that you're like hanging out, he's so personable. He's so like intent when he listens to you and makes the conversation so smooth. You forget like this is the guy that had Claude Lemieux and the turtle and he was beating the hell out of him.
Yeah. Don't you really?
You forget about it.
Yeah, no, he's so good, and you know he's got it's his heart, man.
Yeah, he's
got a
awesome.
heart. We've done this. We're going to do a September 13th thing with Peter Dante. I'd mentioned to you.
Yeah.
Did you ever look that up last night? He was quarterback in Waterboy.
He was in the
Grandma's Boy.
He was the caddy in Happy Gilmore as well.
Oh, was he?
He was Happy
With
Gilmore,
the beard, that
the
weird
guy that
looking
was
guy?
washed. Yeah, that's him. That's Peter Dante. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite of his though was from Grandma's Boy. He was was the dealer. He was so funny in
He
that
was,
movie.
wasn't he? He was hilarious. His buddy showed up, and have you seen that, Tori? His buddy showed up, and he was in the house, and he was gonna, bring him some different or buy some weeds from him. And he walks in. The buddy walks in, and he follows him, and Peter Dante answered the phone, and he was buck naked, and he turns around, and his buddy goes, Your ass is tanned more than my face.
Yep.
That was pretty.
That's
funny.
a great part of the movie. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that was funny. So we're gonna have him September 13th.
Awesome.
Yeah, my buddy Mike McHugh bought the Clark Lake Golf Course in the Irish Hills at 65. Why would
Bought
you
a
do
golf
that?
course when he was 65.
Yeah, he's got a lot of energy, and his wife
Good for
Shara,
him.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Good for him.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's a lot.
And they put hundreds of thousands into it. I mean, the wife was a doctor, Shar. She's awesome. But we're going to be out there with Boogie, the manager for DMAC, and then Peter Dante and Louie Lee. Have you heard Louie Lee yet?
I have not.
Okay, Louie Lee is he's rock and roll, he's rap, and he's really country. He's been in Nashville for a long time. So,
It's a good mix nowadays.
D-Mac says he's going to be the next in our area. Louie Lee will be the next Kid Rock.
All right.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
You
You heard it here first.
I heard it in the golf cart a few weeks ago. So I believe him.
That's awesome.
He's so cool. So last November, you guys did that tribute to JJ, and what was that like for you to be there? And it had to be pretty special.
It was really special just because at that time I'd been working with Jim for about 3 years on the morning show with JJ and JoAnne. So I got to know him real well. And one of Jim's sons was my intern back in the day when I worked at YCD, 99.5 YCD for a while. So like I got to know the family really well. His son Davis is in Nashville working on music. So just the fact that I was able to get to know him on a personal level, and then what we were able to pull off for that week, getting all the guest stars. We had everybody from Bob Seger and Tim Allen, and we had, Ken Calvert come in, all these different Detroit radio people that he worked with over the years, Mitch Albom and Eli Zaret, all those guys came in and wanted to participate to honor somebody that is undeniable, right? JJ is one of those undeniables where you hear his voice and instantly, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy, is the guy. He's got that voice. The pipes are so there. So to be able to put it together and celebrate him was awesome. It took a lot of work. It took us about 6.5 months to plan and 1 week to pull off. It was a hell of a week, that's for sure.
Well, the last time there have been 2 radio guys that started it all for everybody. Two of them paved the way was J.P. McCarthy and Dick Burton.
Yeah. I got to work with Dick when I worked at YCD. Like when I first started, I started working at YCD in 2006. I think in like 2009, we moved buildings, like because all the stations were separate. The YCD was in Southfield at the Travelers Tower. OMC was in Ferndale. That's where like they own that building. So they moved us to the OMC building. So we got to work alongside, and that was for 2 years before Dick retired. So I got to get to know him and work with him a little bit. So it was great. And then now every day I work with his daughter, which is even cooler.
She seems like a great woman.
She's awesome, yeah. You know, especially because JoAnne, she'd been on television for 25 years at the time before she started doing radio on Channel 7. So, like, feel like you know her, right?
Yeah.
I had met her a couple of times. She come in for stuff with, like, Dick's last day. She came in, so, like, that's where I got to first meet her. And it's just like, oh, wow, she's so, another one, down to earth, very cool, very likable. So that when they hired her at WOMC and they're like, hey, they need a producer for the show. We want you to produce the show. And I'm like, yep, that sounds great. You're very easy, very workable. And it's been great now. Her and I have been together for 6 years now on the air.
Yeah, I saw him down at the Fisher Building or the Fox, one of the two. I can't remember, but it was the Jersey Boys.
Yeah.
And he was with JoAnne, and they were up near the bar, and my wife and I were there, and he had kind of people, they were leaving. I didn't want to bother. I wanted to say hi, but you don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to bother.
The good thing about them is that they're all very approachable, but don't park at his parking spot. I'll tell you this: when they first combined us into the same building and we're working there, and like the Ferndale building, which is we still have. It's literally in the middle of a neighborhood in Ferndale. It's right across the street from an elementary school, and then all around us are homes. And then boom, there's a radio station building right in the middle of this neighborhood. So it's not that big of a parking lot. And I didn't know, just kind of pulling in, and I pull into the close parking spot and get in and do my thing. And this happened a couple times where I did that, parked in that. And finally someone from his show said, hey, you're parked in Dick's parking spot. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't know that, because it's not labeled or anything. I'm like, I didn't know. And they're like, yeah, can you move your car? And I'm like, sure, no problem. So to this day, I never let Dick live it down. Every time I talk to him, like, hey, is anybody parking in your parking spot?
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a legend, you know.
Definitely a legend. Huge.
So we have those three sponsors I had mentioned to you, and one is Mike McHugh and the Clark Lake Golf Course, and Tim Kaczynski, who's the dentist for the Red Wings, and he does all the older.
I bet he gets a lot of work.
Yeah, he's done 12 implants. So one's in process.
One's not
Come on,
done
Tim.
yet.
Yeah. He says 4 months, but I got to wear this thing here.
Tim Kaczynski.
13 in Telegraph.
13 in Telegraph. Dentist does good work. Hook him up.
There you go. Now I'm going to give you Mamma Mia's. Let's see what you can do with them. Grand River and Beach.
Okay. Mamma Mia's?
Mamma Mia's Pizzeria.
Mamma Mia, Pizzeria. I like a pepperoni.
That's good. That's good. Do you know Tom Ryan?
I've met Tom a couple of times. I don't know him personally, but I have met him a couple of times when
Sergeant Sackdahl.
Yeah, they're working at because he was working at WWJ and he had retired, but he had still come in every so often, and I got to see him a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a character. He always did the U of D Mercy basketball games. Mm-hmm. And then he did the high school basketball games too, like championship games down there. And he actually coached at our old high school, St. Agatha in Redford Township, right off a beach in Grand River near Mamma Mia's.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was the head coach there. Tough guy.
Yeah.
He actually was tough. Yeah, he was. Jason, he played for UD Mercy basketball. Yep. It wasn't Mercy then, but I heard he was really good. Tough.
Was he there? Did he play there when Dick Vitale was coaching there?
No, he's as old as Vitale.
Okay, I wasn't sure how. I mean, I knew he was older. I didn't think he was as old as Dickie V.
The word is he married a rich woman, and he spends a lot of time in Florida.
Hey, good for him.
Well, yeah, some of us weren't so lucky, but I got a great wife, so I would never
44
say
years. Congratulations to you.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah.
Very good.
Everybody loves her. We always joke up north. We're up there at Houghton Lake, and my brother's up there with us this last week. We were there 5 days, and it's everybody wants to see Michelle. Mm-hmm. She's 28 years in Catholic school, 7th, 8th grade, when you really taught social studies. That's what she did, and You ask her a date. You know where our vacations are? Gettysburg,
Yep.
Vicksburg.
Yeah.
You know.
She's got a whole itinerary planned out about the history of the place that you guys are at, I bet.
Oh yeah, her dad was a colonel in the Army.
Oh, yeah.
I can't let that go because my dad was on the last destroyer hit by a kamikaze in World War II.
Wow.
Yeah, the USS Borer. He was picking up body parts at about 19. So,
Man.
Tori's heard this. But
That's wild.
isn't that crazy?
That's, World War II is something that I not like obsess over, but I do like watching the documentaries about World War II, the movies about World War II. I find it fascinating because I couldn't imagine being 19 years old and having to go through everything that they went through, whether it would be at Pearl Harbor and what they experienced there, or going across to Normandy and crashing on the beaches. And as soon as the boat launch opens, they're sniping people right away. I mean, the horror and the terror is fascinating to me, like that they actually survived it and they had to go through it and were able to still do what they had to do, even though they were dealing with the most immeasurable odds against them. That fascinates me. I love that stuff.
Oh, yeah, we are patriotic, to say the least. Michelle's dad, he was a Corps of Engineers colonel in Guadalcanal. And my dad, I'd talk to him after baseball. He always coached our baseball teams. I remember one time just driving home with him, and he was saying, yeah, Ron, they bombed. Our bombs were going off 24/7, bombing, just constant setting off bombs. I said, Dad, how'd you sleep? Because he was in the basement. He was an engineer, or the basement, the lower part of the ship. And I said, how'd you sleep? He says, we'd be holding our battle stand, standing up, sleeping. We had your body, your eyes will close. You can't open them.
Yeah.
And that's how they slept. It's crazy, eh?
Yeah, I heard my uncle was in Vietnam, and he didn't talk about it much, but I mean, I did get a few stories out of him, and I asked, because like I love Forrest Gump, right? It's one of my favorite movies. So like when in the scenes of Forrest Gump, when they're like walking through the jungle, and then it just starts raining all the time, right? I asked him about the rain and everything. I was like, was the rain really as bad as they always say it is? And he's like, it's worse than what they say it is. And I asked him about sleep. I'm like, how do you do it? He's like, sometimes you just gotta lean up against somebody or lean up against a tree and sleep. I don't know how you could do it, but I mean, you have to, because like you said, your body
Shuts down.
It's just going to shut down. So that is just wild. I can't imagine having to go through anything like that.
No, me either.
I'm thankful that I didn't have to.
Yeah, and hopefully our kids don't either. Well, we don't have much time left here, and I just wanted to say we're going to have Mickey Redmond on in next week. He's coming in August.
Hey-o, I love Mickey.
You know, somebody said to me, joked to me, and I don't know if I'll say it to him. I probably will. I say, people are calling you the next Don Cherry.
Okay, well, I want to hear how that turns out.
He might punch me.
I don't know. Well, the thing about Don Cherry, yeah, he might lose another tooth. He'll match it on side.
No, he'll laugh.
I think with I don't know if that would be an insult. Maybe if he always wore, like if he wore outfits like Don Cherry. Like for me, that's what made Don Cherry, right? He was outspoken, but there's other people in other sports that are outspoken and do wild things. Like we talked about earlier about Dickie V. I mean, think about him. He is one of those that is like a character, right? And that's to me what he was, just a character with all those wild outfits. But I loved watching him on CBC. So think of some of my friends that aren't from the area, growing up in the area, that are here now. And I'm like, yeah, we used to watch Canadian channels. You get the CBC, right? You get to being here, you got to watch it. So you can watch the Red Wings on American television, or if they were playing the Toronto Maple Leafs or something, you can watch them on Canadian television. And watching Don Cherry was always a treat. Don Cherry was the best.
He had a radio voice, but he was a color guy, and he was great. The funny thing about part of this Mickey Redmond, the dentist is friends with him.
Okay.
He does work for all the Red Wings.
He probably replaced a couple of Mickey's teeth.
I'm sure he did.
He played without helmets back in the day.
Yeah. Well, he does them, and he does Catholic Center priests. He helps out those guys. But yeah, Mickey Redmond is funny. So he calls me about an hour and a half, 2 hours before the seventh game of the championship. It was Edmonton, I believe, in Florida, right?
Yep, this year,
This year. So an hour before, and I look at the phone, and I tell my wife, I say, hey, Michelle, we're in the back room, and it's like, Birmingham, my friends aren't in Birmingham. I'm a West Sider.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
it Telegraph or Woodward and over? It hasn't changed. I
Yep.
go, who's this rich guy? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
Bloomfield, Birmingham, Beverly Hills. I said, oh, yeah, should I? I go, all right, boom. I said, hello. And it's like, hey, Jess. So now I know they're selling me something. If it's Ronald, Mr. Jess, or Jess, they don't know me.
Yeah.
So I go, it's Ron Jess.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, okay, Jess.
He doesn't realize that.
You
It's
know
like,
what's-
it's Ron Jess.
You know what's really funny? I go, dude, you got 5 seconds. I'm going to hang up on you. He says, this is Mickey Redmond. I go, whoops.
Oh, I'm
whoa."
sorry, Mr. Redmond.
Yeah. Is that hilarious?
That's great.
Yeah. He's only called once. I don't know. Maybe
He probably
he's
won't
mad.
call again either.
No, he'll call back. So I've been sober since May 28th of 2023.
That's amazing.
Yeah, poured it all down the
Congratulations.
drain, and I loved Jack Daniels. You know,
Yeah.
maybe some of the stuff on exit 181, the Pink County exit,
Yeah.
so across from McDonald's, that little store. But you know, I just like to throw that out there because it's important. I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. meetings, and you know,
Good for you.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of figure preaching to nobody, but if maybe it helps somebody to do that, if they happen to see this in 5 years, maybe it'll send them over to see if they can't figure it out.
It's good to know that there's so. I mean, you may not think that there's somebody out there that is listening or that can help you, but there is help out there. So I'm glad that you were able to find it. And it's been how long again?
May 28th, 2023. It was
for you.
Memorial Day weekend. We were up with our kids at Houghton Lake, and they're all there, 13. So we're leaving on Sunday morning, and I'll be quick about this. But everything's in the fridge and the freezer, and it just gone from like stuff, food and fudgesicles and popsicles in the freezer.
Yeah.
Woke up at 4 in the morning, went out there like half asleep, but it was like a dream. Poured everything down the drain, closed it up, and went in and smiled and said goodbye to everybody. And we get to the Zewalki Bridge, and my son Jeremy calls. My wife has him on speaker, you know, and it's like, hey, Mom. Hey, Jeremy, how's it going? He goes, Dad right there? She goes, yeah. What did you do?
Where did it all go?
Yeah, you were all smiling when you left her. You poured all our stuff down the drain. What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
And I thought, at the moment, God, maybe I am crazy.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to find the help that you needed, and it's been over a year now, and you're sticking with it. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Good for you.
It's really good. Thanks, Jason.
That's
I
awesome.
Appreciate that. So when all is said and done, what would you like people to say about you, Jason?
Oh, wow. When it's all said and done, I mean, if you're talking about like my career and everything, I think if as long as people were able to laugh at things that I've done, maybe be informed on something and definitely be entertained, then for me, then job well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're a good guy, and it seems like all you radio guys are really good people.
I wouldn't say all of us, but thank you.
You can't hide it. Come on.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Jason, you get to try the Jess Pickles.
Jess Pickles,
GD, what's the date on that?
7/22.
Yeah.
No, or 7/24.
7/24.
7/24/24.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Garlic dill. They're fresh. I don't know.
All right, good. I'm glad you said garlic dill because I hear GD and I think it's something else.
I know. We've been
these
through
GD
that.
pickles?
I had to apologize for saying
I was like,
that
are
to
these
my
spicy
mom.
or what? What am I in for?
You just dig in.
All right, let's get it.
1 to 10, Jason.
All right, here we go.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. The brine. Perfect.
Yeah.
Crunchy. I love these.
Yeah.
I'm a big pickle guy.
Well, you got that.
But I
jar.
like dill pick. I like the dill pickles. I don't like the bread and butter ones.
I'm with you, and I don't like those sweet ones either.
That's really good. Good mixture of the garlic. Got that hit. The dill.
Vinegar. You got a little bite on the vinegar.
Yeah, I like that.
And you know what's cool about this? Molasses sucks. They got yellow pickles and they got a preservatives.
Yeah, these are.
That's preserved by salt and vinegar.
Those will be good for picklebacks.
And you're gonna
Not for you though, Ron.
You're gonna rate them what?
For the 1 to 10 on these?
Yes, sir.
9.
9. Good.
I'd give them a good 9, solid 9.
Yeah.
8, 7. If you want me to get specific, I'll say it, but 9 be good. Those are good, crunchy, good aftertaste, and just really well done.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Jason.
Good to meet you too, Ron. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And everyone, don't forget to listen to 104.3 WOMC Monday through Friday, 6 to 10. JoAnne, Jason, and Ben. That's where you can find us.